Welcome. We're excited to start the planning process for Marshall Mountain Park. I'm Nathan McLeod from Missoula Parks and Recreation. As part of our visioning process, I'll be taking you on a virtual tour of Marshall Mountain today. Marshall Mountain is an old ski area 5 miles northeast of Missoula. It's adjacent to thousands of acres of publicly owned land, including city, state, and federal lands. The ski area closed in 2003 and was purchased in 2021 by Izzy Dog. It is currently open to the public and operated by Missoula Parks and Recreation under a 12 to 24-month lease agreement with the option to purchase the property. Lots of people are familiar with Marshall Mountain. Over the years, thousands of Missoulians learned the joys of sliding on snow at Marshall. In more recent years, the mountain property has been used for events, parks and recreation programs, and competitive races. Marshall has touched the lives of many people over the past 70 years, and now we have a unique opportunity to protect this special place forever and shape what Marshall will be for the next 70 years. The future is now. Marshall Mountain's history as a ski area dates back to the 1920s when a group known as the Montana Mountaineers were conducting ski tours in the Missoula area, including Marshall Ridge. The first ski tow in the canyon was constructed on the adjacent private property in 1937 from old motorcycle parts. The history of Marshall Mountain as a commercial ski area really began in 1956, and the mountain continued to operate as a downhill ski area until 2003 when it was closed, primarily due to declining business from a lack of snow. Generations of Missoulians have learned to ski and appreciate outdoor recreation at Marshall, and there is a strong sense of nostalgia for this place. In the last few years, Missoulians have taken to Marshall Mountain for non-motorized, human-powered activities, including backcountry skiing and mountain biking. The historic ski area is made up of two parcels. The lower mountain is owned by a local company called Izzy Dog and operated by Missoula Parks and Recreation. This is where the base area and lodge buildings are. The upper mountain is owned by Five Valleys Land Trust and has been open to the public for several years. Most of the recent trail development has occurred on the Five Valleys property. The ski area also included a permit area on the adjacent Forest Service land. This permit allows certain activities related to operating a recreational ski area to take place on National Forest property. For the purposes of the visioning process, we will assume that the project area includes the two privately owned parcels. However, we hope to work with the Forest Service to integrate Marshall Mountain into the wider landscape. The total project area of Marshall Mountain is 320 acres. Let's take a comparative look at some of the other recreational mountains nearby. By comparison, Whitefish Mountain Resort is 3,000 acres, and Montana Snow Bowl is 2,243 acres. Little Marshall isn't much in comparison, but what it lacks in acreage, it makes up for in heart. The Marshall Mountain base area has an elevation of 4,000 feet. This quickly rises to just over 5,000 feet at the top of the Five Valleys parcel, while the top of the Forest Service permit area is just over 5,800 feet. Much of the two properties are quite steep, with a fair amount of the lower mountain being over 30% slope. Only several acres at the base are under 5% slope. The upper mountain has slightly less steep slopes, yet access is through the steeper terrain below or along the 3-mile non-motorized Forest Service road from the Green Gate lower down on Marshall Canyon Road. While Marshall Mountain has been a recreation area for many years, it's also an important wildlife habitat that has numerous unique natural resources on site. Marshall Creek runs through the property and supports native trout and a variety of aquatic wildlife. Several springs exist on site, providing year-round water to wildlife. The vulnerable flammulated owls are known to nest nearby, and many habitat trees have been inventoried on the property. Deer, elk, moose, lynx, bear, and other large mammals likely use the property, as well as numerous smaller birds, mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. While Marshall is an important recreation park, a balance must be struck between recreational development and natural resource and habitat protection. There's a lot of existing infrastructure on the property in various states of functionality or disrepair. There are lodge buildings, aerial lifts, storage sheds, garages, electrical lines, lights for night skiing, snowmaking pipes, wells, septic, the list goes on. As part of the master planning process, detailed inventory and analysis of this infrastructure will be completed to determine the feasibility of reusing, repairing, or removing existing infrastructure. Questions that will likely need to be answered include, will the lodges be usable? Can the lifts operate? Is snowmaking feasible? At this point, the answer to most of these questions is maybe. While we don't want to take ideas off the table at this point in the visioning process, we also must recognize what is realistic. Is investing $1 million to operate the lift a worthy cause? Does it make sense to take water from Marshall Creek to make snow for skiing? Or does it make more sense to spend money to remove much or all of this infrastructure and restore the area to a more primitive state? A thorough feasibility study and operational business plan will help answer these questions and will be a part of the master planning process. But the discussion about these trade-offs starts here with this visioning process. So let's talk about this process moving forward. We're beginning the community visioning process now, which will provide the vision and guidance for a more detailed master plan. The master plan will include a feasibility study and operational business plan. The fundraising campaign will be ongoing with a goal to acquire the property by the end of 2022. We hope to start implementing the master plan sometime in 2023. The plan will likely be implemented in phases, which will be influenced by the outcomes of the planning process. It's important to remember the park will be open to the public throughout this process. Thanks for watching. Please take a look at the other information on the Engage Missoula webpage, and be sure to encourage other people to provide their feedback. The more people we can have engaged, the better the plan for Marshall will represent the entire Missoula community.